Here we're going to solve and graph the solution set for the compound inequality, which is 1 less than or equal to 2x plus 3 less than 11. So we have a compound inequality in one statement instead of two separate inequalities. This is not that difficult to work with. Just remember that instead of doing the same thing to both sides, you will be doing the same thing to all three sides. So we are still solving for x. We have 2x plus 3. Since I'm going to be working with the middle, I want to rewrite this inequality and give myself some space to work. So I have 1 space less than or equal to 2x space plus 3 space less than 11. Now I'm solving for x. X is being multiplied by 2 and we are adding 3. So in order to solve for x, let's do the additive inverse of positive 3, which is to minus 3. And whatever we do to one side, we want to do the same thing to all sides. So 11 minus 3 and 1 minus 3. As long as you remember to do the same thing to all three sides, you should be fine. So now we get 1 minus 3. We have positive 1, negative 3. We have more negatives. So the difference will be negative. And difference between 1 and 3 is 2. So negative 2 less than or equal to 2x. 3 minus 3 adds up to 0. Less than 11 minus 3 is 8. We are still solving for x. 2 is multiplying x. The inverse of multiplying by 2 is to divide by 2. And whatever we do to one side, we want to do the same thing to all three sides. So negative 2 divided by 2 and 8 divided by 2. And we get negative 2 divided by 2. We have negative 1 less than or equal to 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we have x less than 8 divided by 2. We have 4. So negative 1 is less than or equal to x and it's less than 4. So let's graph the solution to this compound inequality. X is between negative 1 and 4. What makes this version of compound inequalities easier? The solution is right there in front of you. We have the first point we are working with is negative 1. Since it has or equal to, we are using the filled-in point. So at negative 1, we have filled-in point. And x is less than 4. This is just less than, so we are using empty point. And the solution is x lies between negative 1 and 4. Also, in this form, you don't need to graph to get the interval notation because we can see right away that x is between negative 1 and 4. Because we have greater than or equal to, we use bracket at negative 1, comma, and it goes all the way to 4. And because we have less than, we close this interval with the parentheses. So this is our solution. That's all.